If you've ever wondered if it would make sense to create a business card as a children's author, then this video is for you, especially if you have been trying to come up with something unique and fun. Hi there, I'm Eevi, an award-winning children's author and ghostwriter over on eevijones.com and the creator of Children's Book University. I create videos specifically for children's authors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. In this video, we will look at 1, when and why creating a business card would make sense for us children's authors. 2, elements we want to make sure to include on our card. 3, elements to make sure not to include on our card. 4, some fun and creative design ideas for our card to help it stand out, along with some actual examples. And finally, 5, we will look at where to go to create and print our business card. So let's jump right in. Now, you may be wondering, does it make sense to create a business card for myself as an author? Would the investment be worth it, especially if we are not a full-time author? Now, I have been an author since 2013, and there have been so many moments where I wish I would have had a card with me. So now I always carry at least a couple of cards around with me wherever I go. So the short answer is yes, creating our own author business card is absolutely worth it. And that's because a well-designed business card helps us, 1, share our most relevant information quickly and easily. 2, having a designed card like this looks a lot more professional and put together than scribbling our information down on a piece of paper. And 3, being able to share our information with a card like this just makes everything feel and look a lot more official. Investing in ourselves this way signals that we believe in ourselves and that we take being an author seriously. And if we take ourselves seriously, so will others. Now, what would be some opportunities where we would get to share our wonderful business card? Well, 1, as I already mentioned, I now always carry a few cards with me wherever I go. And that's because that's truly one of the first things people ask me for once they hear that I am a children's author. They ask if I have a card so they can look me up, learn more about me, and hopefully purchase one of my books. Now, something that took me quite some time to figure out and get comfortable with is how to actually go about letting others know that we are authors and that we have written a children's book. That's truly one of the biggest stumbling blocks for us authors, right? Which is why I created a separate video on just that not too long ago. So if you too feel a bit awkward or salesy every time you talk about your children's book, or perhaps you don't really know how to bring up your children's book in a conversation in the first place, then this separate video is for you, and I made sure to share the link in the description below. That way we can bring up the topic of having written a children's book much more naturally, which then provides us with an opportunity to share our business card. The second use for our business card would be at vendor events, book fairs, and any other public events where we are sharing and showcasing our book, including school visits. Not too long ago, I made a video on how and what to prepare for such book events, and having a business card was one of the items I shared in that video, so I made sure to share that link in the description below as well. And the third use for our business card would be to add them to our books, either just to the package whenever we are sending them out to others, or directly to the inside of our books. Something I love doing is to add my card to the very front of my books by using self-adhesive corners we often use for photos or scrapbooking. I use these golden ones right here because they really help elevate the look. So I made sure to share the link to where I usually get these helpful little stickers in the description below as well. Now that we know when and where we can use our business cards, let's look at the main elements we want to make sure to include on our cards. Here we will want to both be methodical and practical and ask ourselves, what is the purpose of my business card? Is it to get others to learn more about us, the author, and help potential readers to find and purchase our book? Or is it to provide business and retailers who might be interested in carrying our book with our official contact information? Are we trying to be mostly practical and simply include our most relevant information? Or are we open to letting our own personality shine through and let it be reflected in the design of our cards? And what is our budget? One of my budget-friendly ninja tips here is to design our cards in such a way that we have to print on only one side, because printing only the front is always a lot more cost-effective. Thinking about these things is important because our answers to these questions will guide our design choices and what elements we might want to include. For example, if I am planning to mostly share my business card with readers, I wouldn't want to include my personal phone number. If, however, I'm planning to mostly share it with businesses who might want to carry my book, including my phone number would be important. So we will want to be clear on the main purpose of our card. Now, if you have a hard time deciding, then my second ninja tip here would be this. Simply consider creating different designs for different purposes. That's something I do with my author bio as well, where I have a different version for different occasions. I have a very short and concise author bio that I often use in the signature blocks of articles I write for publications, and I have a longer version I use whenever I give a podcast interview. If you need any help with your own author bio, make sure you watch my separate video on that. I shared the link to that in the description below. So let's take a look at the main elements we will want to include on our card. 1. Our name. If we write and publish our beautiful children's book under our regular name, then this is very straightforward. If, however, we are using a pen name, we have a number of options. 1. We can either use our regular legal name. 2. We can use our pen name. Or 3, we can include both. If we want to use both, we could share our regular legal name and then introduce our pen name with a phrase like writing as, like we see it right here, Daniel Handler writing as Lemony Snicket. 2, we will want to include our title. Here we have a number of options depending on what roles we are playing. For example, if we are both the author and the illustrator, we will want to share that by adding the title Children's Author and Illustrator. This right here is also a beautiful opportunity to showcase any credibility markers we may have already garnered. For example, if our book received a best-selling banner, our title could read Best-Selling Children's Author or Best-Selling Author. If we have won an award, we could include the title Award-Winning Children's Author or Award-Winning Illustrator. One of my own cards, for example, shares my title USA Today and Wall Street Journal Best-Selling Writer and Award-Winning Children's Author. If we have earned these titles, we should be proud of them and display and share them. 3, we will want to include our contact information, whatever contact info we feel most comfortable providing. Here the 3 most common ones are often our email address, our website, and our social media handles. When it comes to including a website, it's best to include one URL only. If you don't have a website just yet, but have been thinking about one, I went ahead and shared a link to my author website studio that helps with just that. Now, I know that it's really tempting to include more than just one link, so if you have multiple links you would like to share here, I would encourage you to take advantage of what I call the one link solution, which would enable us to share multiple links with just one link. I've added the link to that separate video in the description below. And when it comes to our social media handles, we want to try to stick to just the most important ones, those we are actually active on. So for me, that's my Instagram handle. And here it's really helpful if we have set up our different social media accounts using the same handle, which is one of my ninja tips I shared in my social media series. So this right here is one of my own cards. It shares my name, my title, my email, my website, and my Instagram handle. Information we may want to stay away from sharing would be our physical address and our phone number. But again, this very much depends on the purpose of our business card. Now, besides our name, our title, and our contact information, there are a couple of optional elements we may want to add to our card as well. 1, an author image. Now, I personally don't do this, but adding a professional image of ourselves is absolutely an option. If we do decide to add a photo, we want to keep just a few things in mind. A, we don't want to use a selfie that very much looks like a selfie. B, even though it's just a tiny photo, we do want to make sure it fits our genre. Something that really helps here is to simply look at some profile pictures some of our favorite children's authors are using, looking for similarities. What are they wearing? How are they posing? What does their background look like? These right here are some of my favorite children's authors, and just looking at a few of them, I can already see a trend or similarities when it comes to poses and background. 2, the second optional element is an image of our cover. Here, a mock-up image instead of just a flat image of our cover often looks a bit more professional, simply because it gives it some more depth. And if we have written a series, we could even showcase all the books of that series, like we see in this example right here of my Life's Biggest Moments series. And I have created these book mock-ups with my mock-up templates, which I have also shared in the description below as well. 3, we can include the logo of our imprint if we have one, or the logo of our series. Now again, this is absolutely optional. This top example right here shows the logo of my imprint. If you have a question about imprints, including the logo, I have a separate video on that I shared in the description below. And the bottom example here is a card that shows the logo of my award-winning children's book series, Braving the World. 4, we can include a QR code. Here too, I have a whole separate video on where we can create and customize our very own QR code for absolutely free that I shared below. Now here's another important ninja tip of mine. If we do include a QR code, we will want to make sure to still always also share the URL. That way, we make sure that even those who may not have the means to properly utilize a QR code can still access our links. Now, what are some things we should omit and make sure we do not include on our business card? 1, as I already mentioned, information we may want to stay away from sharing would be our physical address and our phone number. But again, this very much depends on the purpose of our business card. 2, we will want to make sure we don't use fonts that are hard to read. So it's always best to use simple fonts. Even though they may look really great, calligraphy and handwriting based fonts may not be the best option here if the lettering isn't clear. 3, we will want to make sure we use fonts that fit our genre and to stay away from those that do not. For example, Western-based fonts or fonts we would associate with scary movies wouldn't be the best fit for us children's authors. 4, we also want to make sure our text is easy to read, paying attention that our text isn't too small and that our text stands out from the background. So our color combination is very important, as well as making sure that our background isn't too busy. And 5, we also want to make sure that our images are high quality, so they aren't blurry and don't show up pixelated. So a quality of 300 dpi or dots per inch would be ideal here. Now that we have all the don'ts out of the way, let's focus on the fun and creative part. Because as children's authors, we have so much more freedom and possibilities here. Here we would want to ask ourselves, do we want our business card to be a more classic version, or do we want it to be a direct extension of our beautiful book? Because we have so many illustrations already created for our book, we may as well use them, right? So 1, a fun and unique design would be to incorporate one of our images, either to cover the entire background or to simply just use a spot illustration. I even added a little tagline right here as well. Freddy the Frog, plenty of adventures, one hop at a time. And the contact information is on the back. 2, to take this one step further, we could even make the background of the back of our card coordinate with the front, like we see right here. 3, we can play with the orientation of our business card. So instead of using the more traditional horizontal design, we could try a vertical design. 4 is one of my favorites because I think it's just so creative and unique. And that's to incorporate different cutout shapes that would work well with the theme or topic of our book. So for example, if our book is about a bunny eating a cookie, we could use that as a spot illustration placed toward the corner of our card. And once we have our cards printed, we can then use our scissors or a hole puncher to trim the edge so it looks like someone took a bite out of our cookie. We could do the same with cheese if that's part of our story, where we are punching holes into our cheese. Or if we have a night sky, we could punch out little stars or hearts. There are so many different shape puncher options that are really inexpensive. So there are so many different possibilities here, making our card truly unique and our own. 5 is another such creative way to share our information, and that's to have our business card be a bookmark. That way, whomever we are sharing our card with will be able to use it for something that may actually be useful to them as well. And to make this even more special, we could punch a hole toward one of the ends and then add a tassel. Again, this is such an inexpensive way to set ourselves apart because we can buy a pack of 100 such tassels from Amazon for just a few dollars. Another fun way to incorporate our book even further is to add a fun activity like a picture search to the back of our bookmark, where our little readers can cross out little images when they have spotted them in our book. All the design examples I shared in this video I created directly in Canva. We can either start from scratch or use Canva's sizing template and then add our illustrations and information from there. The beauty about using Canva is that we can order our designed business cards and our cards/bookmarks directly from Canva. And if we are looking for more paper stock options, or if we are looking for round corners on our cards, or if we perhaps would like a foil accent, then a place like Vistaprint is a beautiful option as well. Here I would still recommend designing our card in Canva, download the file, and then upload it onto Vistaprint that way. Here, my very final ninja tip is this. Before ordering a large quantity, I would recommend ordering just 50, the minimum possible quantity over on Vistaprint. That way we can see how we like them, tweak them, and then get more. Over the years, I have created my fair share of business cards, and every time is special and so much fun. As a children's author, our possibilities here are truly endless. I have so many ideas, and I hope this video got your creative juices flowing as well. If you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It always makes me so happy and really encourages me to keep making free videos for you just like this one. Here's to making our business card truly our own. Bye!